Hey, this is JR, aka The Tourist. Welcome to Hua Hin, Thailand. I'm staying at the Standard Hotel. It's right on the beach, but close to the center of town. Of course, Hua Hin is full of nice resorts that sit on the beach, so what makes the Standard a standout? Grab a beer, or maybe something fruity, and stay with me a few minutes. I'll try to answer that question. I'll tell you what I like about this place and what I don't. I'll take you around the grounds of the hotel and talk about the room options, and I'll show you inside my room. But let's get started. But do remember, this is not a review, it's merely my impression of the property. The hotel sits in the center of town, just off Hua Hin's main road. You enter the property through a small but lush garden into a modest but well-appointed open-air lobby. I call the vibe of the Standard hip but approachable. Hua Hin is a small beach town on the western shore of the Gulf of Thailand, about 2 to 3 hours drive south of Bangkok. A popular spot for well-off Thais and international retirees, Hua Hin has long been a favorite summer spot for the Thai royal family, which helps keep things on the wholesome side. If you're familiar with Pattaya on the other side of the Gulf, think of Hua Hin as the anti-Pattaya. Lately, Hua Hin has seen something of a renaissance, perhaps why Standard Hotels placed its first ever Thailand outpost here. Standard Hotels traces its origin back to the Standard Hollywood, which opened in 1999 on Sunset Boulevard. The hotel opened in an old 1960s motel that had become a retirement home. Let's head to my room. On the way, we'll talk a little more about the hotel. This hotel has 196 rooms, suites, and villas, and sits on a long, narrow campus that runs from the road to the ocean. The rooms and suites are all housed in 2 6-story modernist blocks towards the front of the property. There are several room categories. The standard and superior rooms are both around 400 square feet and are suitable for couples with maybe one small child. For parties with more than 2 adults or with older children, there are 2 categories of suites available. I booked a superior king room, which is the entry-level category. Much like my experience at the Standard in Bangkok, I found the room very nice, if a little Spartan. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Welcome to room 418. The room is definitely mod, in keeping with the rest of the resort, and how much you like it will depend on how much you dig this aesthetic. If you're like me, then design styles and aesthetics play a big part in where you choose to stay. So I try to give a sense of what the aesthetic is and whether or not it's working. If you share this approach to travel, then please consider subscribing to the channel. I post hotel impressions, destination guides, and more. And I'm just getting started. Join me, and we'll tour the world together. The minibar is decently stocked. A coffee machine would be nice, but at this price point, I don't expect it. There are some drip bags from a specialty coffee brand that reports using Thai-grown beans. It was pretty good coffee. It's not a large room, which means that everything is right out in the open, including the closet, which is never my favorite thing. One other negative to note is that the humidity is apparent and there was a slight mustiness to the room. Yes, this is a beach town in Thailand, but some properties deal with the humidity better than others. I will say that this is far from the worst I've experienced. It was noticeable, but not so much as to be a problem. Last, there's a small balcony that gives some great views. As much as the public parts of the property can feel like a scene, the guest rooms tend toward the serene. Speaking of the public parts, let's head back out and see them. The Standard built its brand off of 60s jet-set era nostalgia, which is still prominently on display in its properties. Standard has plans for opening 2 additional hotels in Thailand, but the brand has been recently acquired by Hyatt, and I don't know how that will affect future openings. Of the 3 major hotel chains, Hyatt has some of the most distinctive brands and stylish properties, which makes this a good merger. If you've got any thoughts about either Standard or Hyatt, I'd love to hear them. Here in Hua Hin, Standard's in-house design team oversaw the design of a project that mixes elements of modernist if not outright brutalist architecture, with soft colors and natural materials. The standard serenity is built into the design plan. The landscape was designed by Bangkok-based Schma Designs, whose goal was to preserve the existing trees and shrubs on the plot. They endeavored to create a property fitting with Hua Hin's status as a popular getaway from the urban chaos in Bangkok. In that, I think they've succeeded. My philosophy towards travel is that quality and fit are equally important. You can visit the most objectively wonderful property in the world, but if it's an ill fit for your travel style, you likely won't have the best time. With that in mind, allow me to say a few words about whether this might be the right property for you. Without further ado, I present the tourists' do's and don'ts. First, with regards to Hua Hin, do come here if you're looking for a quiet beach town within a couple of hours of Bangkok. And if you enjoy stylish, mid-century modern design at a moderate price point, do consider the standard. Likewise, do stay here if you're looking for a certain kind of buzzy vibe, and that's more important than the room itself. On the other hand, don't come to Hua Hin if you're looking for a party scene or for a more idyllic, isolated beach experience. Pattaya would be better for the former, and Koh Samet or Koh Chang for the latter. As for the standard itself, don't stay if you prefer a more traditional design aesthetic or a more classic beach resort layout. The standard can seem quite austere in some places. Also, if you're the kind of person who wants to spend most of your time relaxing in your room and you're not that interested in being social, consider a resort with bigger, more plush rooms. If you found any of this helpful, or you're just enjoying the video, hit the like button, which helps others to find the video. Here on the right is the spa, which includes sauna facilities. Prices here are higher than the shops you'll find around town, but on par with the higher end shops. The gym is just across from the spa. The size and scope of the equipment is minimal. Just past the gym and the sauna are the resort's villas, off to either side of the path. Most of the villas are two-story structures with a pool villa on the ground and a canopy villa up top. The canopy villas are not much larger than the regular rooms, but do include an outdoor lounging area. Occupancy in the standard villas are limited to 2 adults and a child, but you can book a pool villa and a canopy villa as one to accommodate larger parties. Back here is the heart of the resort. There's the pool, which, while not particularly large, is surrounded by ample space for lounging around. You've seen a few shots of the pool in use during prime hours, but here's what it looks like early in the morning, when I can take longer shots without impinging on anyone's privacy too badly. It's a newer property, so everything is in pretty good condition. I'm curious to see how the furniture and the equipment hold up over time. The striking concrete awnings of the Lido Bar is one of my favorite things about the property. It's pure modernism, but at a human scale. Let's have a quick look at the beach and then talk about the other food and beverage outlets on the property. Compare this to the afternoon shots at the beginning of the video, and you'll see the tides vary quite widely. At high tide, much of the beach is underwater, and it's much higher at certain times of the year. But no worries, as there's sand and some loungers up here on the hotel's property. There's also the hut, which rents beach toys and oversees some children's activities. As I mentioned, the Standard is quite centrally located and convenient for exploring the night markets and the walking streets. Hua Hin is not very wide, but it does stretch a ways up and down. I did do some walking around town, but ended my night with a cocktail back at the Standard, at Prasha, the beach bar and restaurant. Prasha is open for afternoon tea at 3 p.m. and from drinks and dinner from early evening to around midnight. The following morning I began my day with breakfast at Lido, the hotel's all-day restaurant, and where breakfast is served. There's an a la carte egg menu as well as a full buffet. Lido is billed as an Italian restaurant, but I only had breakfast here, so I can't speak to the food, other than a snack at the Lido bar, which was pretty good. Lastly, back up at the front of the resort is the Juice Cafe, which also serves coffee. This is as good a place as any to end our video. Thanks for watching. It does mean a lot to me that you made it to the end. Stay tuned for future hotel impressions and more.